United States President Donald Trump delivered his second State of the Union address last night. As expected, it was divisive, full of bluster, hatred and bigotry, veering off script when his emotions took over. International relations expert John Stremner is with me to break it down. So as you were saying, watching Ronald with the sport, he said one sport to another. I mean, it was quite an interesting watch, wasn't it, as we'd expect?
I looked at the text. I didn't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I've seen a lot of these over the years, and this one was not billed. It's going to be very interesting. He did read his lines in a statesmanlike way, but I think it's a very safe assumption that the SONA on Thursday would be a lot more interesting in the context of South African politics than this particular State of the Union was in U.S. politics right now.
I think it was more interesting watching people's expressions and the way he played it and the constant need to be applauded and you know, loved for the incredible achievements that he's made. And obviously he played on the economy for that.
Well, he did, and he was reading a teleprompter and appearing as statesmanlike as I have ever seen him. I mean, I have seen plenty of excerpts from it. There was a striking line in the talk that was peace and legislation, not war and investigation. And that was really picked up by the media. I saw it immediately as a very provocative statement because the investigations are going on. I mean, it's a little bit like if Jacob Zuma was delivering the SONA the day after tomorrow, or tomorrow, would we have Donald Trump and Mueller in the background? You know, Zuma and Zondo, it's the same thing. And you wonder what's going through this man's mind, because he really wants these investigations over, and we're all waiting to see what we're going to learn, if anything.
And, yeah, if anything, we're just beginning. And, you know, the beginning of that, he spoke about unity, excuse me, and putting that, you know, working towards unity. Let's listen to what he had to say about that.
But we must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good. Together, we can break decades of political stalemate. We can bridge old divisions, heal old wounds, build new coalitions, forge new solutions, and unlock the extraordinary promise of America's future. The decision is ours to make. We must choose between greatness or gridlock, results or resistance, vision or vengeance, incredible progress or pointless destruction. Tonight, I ask you to choose greatness.
I love that picture because you can see Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, sitting at the back, sort of, you know, reading her papers. People said it was a bit disrespectful and sort of, you know, smirking at his comments. Fine coming from him when he created such polarization with his call to build the wall, the government shutdown, which put people out of jobs or weren't paid for weeks.
There was one arresting image in that clip, though, that I'd like to draw attention to. I'm sure your viewers picked up on it, which was that sea of white dresses, because this was the 100th anniversary of women getting the right to vote. And Trump, to his credit, gave, not to his credit, but he certainly had it in the speech because he didn't do very much to get women elected. The 127 women now in the Senate and the House, 107 of them in the House, are predominantly Democrats. There's only 13 Republican women in both houses of Congress. But to see those women there, and then when he did pay credit to more women in Congress than ever before, the place erupted, and it was a very nice moment. But that was not Donald Trump's doing, but it was certainly the American electorate wanting to have the Congress look a bit more like America.
At least he acknowledged it, I guess. He obviously is holding on to the things that he sees as a success. His talks with North Korea, one of them. He projected forward from that. He said he saved us all from World War III. Watch this.
My relationship with Kim Jong-un is a good one. Chairman Kim and I will meet again on February 27th and 28th in Vietnam. As part of a bold new diplomacy, we continue our historic push for peace on the Korean Peninsula. Our hostages have come home. Nuclear testing has stopped.
I mean, nobody knows how that's going to play out either, is it? And who's controlling whom here? I mean, what is the game plan going forward?
I'm not sure there's a game plan, really, but I do appreciate the fact that he is meeting. That no one's going to complain about that.
No.
Last week, the head of his Federal Bureau of Investigation, the head of the CIA, and the head of his Director of National Intelligence were all on the Hill, and they simply contradicted their own president by saying there's no evidence that the North Koreans are abandoning their nuclear program,
and that's
even though they're not testing, which is okay.
That's why I'm asking, because he's incredibly confident, but those alongside him are saying, hang on, nothing's changed. He's outplaying you.
Well, I can't believe that he has read his briefing books, and I know he likes to meet other heads of state, and he likes the visuals. We'll see. I wish them well. It's better to be talking than not talking, but with the North Koreans, there has to be some tangible show of a process going forward. That would be something that we could all applaud.
What did he set us up for, the U.S. up for, as far as foreign policy is concerned? And can South Africa glean anything positive from his speech?
Well, I think South Africa should take as positive sign the elections in 2018, as you and I have spoken about before, and the prospect that America may be going through a period of democratic renewal. I would lie low if I was South Africa right now, not get Donald Trump's under Donald Trump's radar screen. He does not seem to be paying much attention to foreign policy because he's preoccupied with the investigations and with his own base and how his political future in the United States will play out. So at the moment, I think that you partner with others and worry more about Brexit, perhaps, than you do about Donald Trump right now.
And his other obsession is the wall. He's assured Americans that he will deliver on the promise to build that wall between the U.S. and Mexico.
We have a moral duty to create an immigration system that protects the lives and jobs of our citizens. In the past, most of the people in this room voted for a wall, but the proper wall never got built. I will get it built.
The obsession with that wall, it led to the government shutdown, which we touched on. What's going to happen now? Because there could be another one, couldn't there?
It's a very interesting moment because there is a deadline of February 15th to get some decision made out of the Congress, and the Congress does not want to have another shutdown. No one wants to have another shutdown, and in fact, Stacey Abrams, who responded to Trump's statement on behalf of the Democrats, did a very, very compelling job about pointing to the futility of this shutdown and not having another one. So how do you get around this problem? Trump last night did not declare a national emergency, which was good, because that really would complicate the Congress. And I'm just holding my breath, hoping that they'll get through it. But I don't think this is an issue that the South Africans have to worry too much about.
No, it is not. The elections looming. It seems that he was also setting himself up for elections, wasn't he? I mean, he certainly wasn't saying that he's not going to be around for the next round, and I'm sure, knowing him, he's going to go for it.
Well, it looks like he's committed to that.
Yeah, but his popularity, his
popularity is 43%. Just in a poll yesterday said that they would never, under any circumstances, vote for Donald Trump, and he never seems to get above in popularity the high 30s. But what is striking is that there are, in the court system of New York right now, as you know, this past week, a whole series of subpoenas to bring in all the facts from his inaugural celebration, which raised over $100 million and didn't spend anywhere near it, but the money can't be traced. So once again, it's a question of who took the money and where does it go and who spent it in the first place, and follow the money. So there are a lot of similarities between the corruption charges in the U.S. and the corruption charges out here. That's a rather interesting parallel in how the U.S. will handle this issue, just as we're looking forward to South Africa handling its problems in this regard.
And as you say, it's going to be a big day tomorrow, John.
Yep, thank you.
Good to have you in as always. Now, what would you do if you were president for a day? What problems would you solve? We posed this question to an 11-year-old who shared her plans for South Africa with us. ENC reporter Liron Zutemba has that story.
Kinelwe Teko seems like an ordinary 11-year-old, balancing school and sport. But she also has some high aspirations. One day, she'd like to be president. So what would be her first priorities as leader of the country?
I would build schools in rural areas and bring good teachers to teach the children. Like, there are people who have studied, had degrees, and just stayed home because there are no jobs in South Africa. So I would give people like that jobs. I would change the water crisis in South Africa.
The grade 6 pupil believes the economy needs urgent attention.
I would like us
She also wants to address salary discrepancies in the workplace.
I would really like to give my parents just a bit more. I mean, for the things that they work for. They work extremely hard, just like the people in South Africa.
So every president has a cabinet. Who will be part of your cabinet?
I would definitely bring in my best friend, Mohorong. She's just got the right personality, right determination for being my deputy president. Minister of Police, who's the strictest? I would appoint my sister.
Now, the big money question, right? Who would you appoint to be the Minister of Finance?
My dad. My dad's very good with money.
Kinelwe also wants to do more for the country's poor and homeless.
Imagine giving him a home, a house to live in, food on the table every single day, electricity, a warm bath.
Came to the union buildings.
She believes if President Cyril Ramaphosa follows her tips, he can
make South Africa great again.
Thank you so much, Kinelwe. Liron Zutemba, Pretoria.
And that's our show for tonight. I'll have more news for you in just a moment.